Hey, welcome to Cow Free Kicks and my worst nightmare. These are the Nike Air Max Plus Drift. Welcome to the channel. If you've not seen one of my videos before, I always look into 5 different categories when I review a pair of sneakers, and they are looks, comfort, weight, breathability and price. And then at the end of the video, I will give these Nike Air Max Plus Drifts an overall rating out of 5 stars. And a sneak peek into that rating, it is not good. And if you do like what you see as you're going along, please do not forget, as always, to click that little thumbs up like button below on your device. And if you've not done so already, just take 2 seconds to subscribe to the channel. All the support is greatly appreciated. So let's start the review off, as we always do, by checking out these Nike Air Max Plus Drifts on feet. This Nike Air Max Plus Drift silhouette, which is brand new from Nike for 2024, is available in 4 different colorways via the Nike app and website. And for me, I'm just thinking, why have you ruined a good thing? I really do not like the way that these look. Now, you've got much more of an aggressive kind of exoskeleton look with this rubberized material that features throughout the upper of the shoe. Incredibly heavy, incredibly hard wearing, but it pretty much dominates the upper of the shoe. In kind of what you've got, some people are calling a fire effect, but it's also kind of got like a watery drip effect to it if you go down the other way to the shoe. And underneath that, you've got almost like a snakeskin mesh that sparkles in the sunlight or when the light hits it. And that comes from different gradients, especially in this shoe. It starts off in kind of like a dark red browny color, moves off into a lighter brown tan, and then hints towards this light blue and then a slightly darker blue as you hit towards the heel of the shoe. If you move towards the heel, there's no traditional TM branding or the tuned air branding that you would see. It has got tuned air branding, but it's written and embossed on this incredibly hardened heel cup made out of this very hard wearing rubberized material. As you move towards the side of the sneaker, there's one main difference, which is the fact that they've moved the tiny swoosh from the middle of the foot all the way towards the heel here, and you have some very thin white kind of tubular laces that come with this particular version of the shoe. And another big difference is they've changed the TM branding on the upper of the tongue just here, and also, if you did like the older branding, you can actually reverse the tongue there to get this darker brown that runs throughout. I personally prefer this look to the shoe than having it wrapped the other way, but you get the traditional TM branding just there, and then that leaves you with a little pocket just at the back of the tongue where I guess you can tuck away your sneakers if you don't like them having out on show like this here. As you move towards the midsole of the sneaker, you've got an incredibly hardened gum outsole on this Nike TN Air Tuned unit for the midsole. Now, it comes in different colors, so you can see just on the outside of your foot here, you've got like a darky green, blue, teal, which is the color of the air units inside the bubbles. As you move towards the inside of the shoe though, you actually get an orange and red combination, and all of that is encased inside this hardened rubber gum outsole. Now, it does have the stability of the kind of shark fin plastic unit on the middle of the foot here that's built into this massive, incredibly large midsole outsole combination. But as you can see, this gum unit here runs up and through and round and kind of splits this air unit in 2. Now, on the other models, the kind of hardened foam cushioning that you get that wraps around the air bubbles is actually on the outside of this, so the midsole almost continues throughout. But what they've done with this version here, they've called the Drift, which Nike have not given any reason for, it kind of is encased with the outsole unit, adding to the weight, and does make these feel and look incredibly chunky. On feet, I just think they look way too long and way too big, and I think for me there's way too much going on. I just don't like this incredibly hardened rubber that they've used on this exoskeleton of the shoe, and I don't like the addition of the fact that the gum sole runs through here. And my a sucker for gum soles, but I just think what they've done with this shoe doesn't really make any improvements on the original, and I just think there's way too much going on, and it's just not for me, unfortunately, in any of the colorways. Now let's move on to the comfort, where I think this shoe really struggles by putting this midsole unit to the test on my back doorstep. Nike have made some additions to this midsole-outsole combination for this Nike Air Max Plus Drift that I really do not like, and comfort-wise, they're absolutely awful. I found these incredibly uncomfortable underfoot and on top of my feet. You can see from the step test that I got zero responsive bounce back from this Air Max sole unit. It just really didn't give anything. I was trying as hard as I could to get any responsiveness from this midsole at all, and it's not like the Nike Air Max Plus is an uncomfortable shoe. The Terrascapes that I reviewed, I gave 4 out of 5 for comfort, because on top of my feet they were incredibly comfortable, and under my foot, whilst they rode firm, there was a nice amount of squish that you got from these Air units. But having this additional outsole unit that they've added, which splits kind of the Air units in half, wraps underneath your foot here, and then comes up towards the front of the toe in this incredibly solid and chunky manner. Now before, with previous versions, you just got like a little strip of synthetic leather that sat on top of the outsole unit, so it didn't really impact it at all. But because they've kind of wired it all into one, there's absolutely zero flexibility from this shoe. When you're walking around in these, not only are they completely dead underfoot, like walking on a plank, so firm that they're incredibly uncomfortable, you also get no flex with your foot when you're walking in these because the shoe is so tight. Also, fit-wise, they are a large fit. Now lengthwise, I'm a perfect UK size 10, and also I've got slightly wider than average feet, but these come up at least half a size too big. They're incredibly roomy in the toe box, which is great if you've got wide feet, but overall I just felt they were too big. But I don't know if I'd want to go that much smaller, because my toes did almost hit the end when I did manage to get some flex out of the shoe. I think they just didn't fit me very well because I couldn't get a lot of flex out of this sneaker without really trying when I was walking. Normally I was just clogging along and clomping along, and I just found that they really are a terrible shoe when it comes to comfort. Now I want to talk more about their weight, where I want to pop them on the scales. And this is where they ultimately fail. The fact that they come in at 587 grams per shoe. One of the, if not the heaviest pair of sneakers that I've ever reviewed on the channel. And that really impacts the comfort because they are incredibly heavy in my hand right now, and they are on feet. If you think about it, you can get pairs of sneakers out there that weigh 260, 270 grams. So a whole pair of shoes can weigh just the same amount as one of these on your feet. I just think if you're going to wear these for an extended period of time, that weight is really going to drag your feet down, and it just adds to the discomfort. I don't know why they've got so many overlays on this. I don't know why they've used the materials they've used to take a shoe that traditionally is quite comfortable and I do quite like, to create something that I don't think looks very good, is incredibly uncomfortable, and is so heavy. Now I want to move on to their breathability, where I want to pump this exoskeleton upper full of smoke, see how breathable it is. You can see from the breathability test that nothing escaped from the areas of this exoskeleton that have the exposed mesh. It's because the mesh is incredibly dense, and also if you put your hand inside the shoe, you can also feel there's like a second layer of mesh inside as well that does move with your foot. And when I did put my foot into this a few times, it kind of scrunched up at the end, which again I didn't like comfort wise. But breathability wise, they just offer zero breathability. The only place the smoke escaped from was where the lace loop holes are on the tongue, just up here, and that's a clear sign that there's nowhere else on the sneaker that any of the smoke can escape from, so they're not going to be a breathable shoe at all. Now at the moment in the UK we're moving towards the spring months, so it's just a shoe that I wouldn't want to wear. I think it's been released at the wrong time, definitely in this hemisphere, because I think they're more of a winter shoe definitely than they are a summer shoe, because they really do lack in breathability. Now I want to move on to their price. Now these set me back a whopping £185. If there was anything about this shoe that I actually liked, I would be okay with the price, but I really think they're incredibly overpriced. I wouldn't want to pay more than $130, $140 for this pair of shoes. So coming in at $185, I think they're incredibly overpriced, and that's just because I don't think they offer you anything. Yes, they're a brand new silhouette, and some people might be absolutely in awe of how they look, but for me, I can't give these any more than 1 star. This is probably going to be the worst shoe that I review all year, mainly because of the hype that's surrounded it, mainly because of the fact that it's incredibly expensive. I just think there's a lot of people out there at the moment going, yeah, it's such a great shoe, you should buy it, it looks really good, it looks different. I just think it looks too much for me, and also I just think they've taken something that was really good and completely destroyed it. And 1 star I think is the only thing I can give it, because even giving them a star rating in comfort is fair, but the fact that I couldn't give them anything for weight, and for breathability it's also a 0. 1 star I think is actually probably even too much. Maybe they should be a 0-star shoe, but I think that's a little bit unfair. But overall, I just think they absolutely suck as a pair of sneakers. Now, if you've liked what we've seen today, please do not forget to give the video a thumbs up right before you leave. You can also follow me on Instagram. Hopefully I'll see you again soon for another one. Bye.